Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading session. Hump day. Halfway through the week already. All right, yesterday pushing the wrong buttons here. Yesterday the market did trend higher, albeit it was reluctant. It didn't really, well, I guess it kind of staggered higher. It put in some gains toward the close, finished around the 55.55 mark, and that's more or less where we're starting the day as well. We still have a couple of opening gaps below the market, one from yesterday, one from the day before. You can see here the hawk producing a few clusters of yellow bars, more or less the same price level, around 55.50. That is suggestive of a sideways market. But we'll try to give them a few minutes here. To sort themselves out. Oh, the eagle and the raptor both producing their signals. Should have been. I meant to take this first eagle signal today too. Darn it. So this is our first in sync eagle signal. And at the same time that was going on, the raptor produced a hard edge bounce signal. So yet another rally into the stratosphere for the stock market. I'm getting a few emails from people asking, how much higher can it go? Well, it can go pretty high, which is obvious. All right, so we got a little rally there from the median line up to the primary resistance. Put the brakes on there for just a moment. Hey, way to go, Mark. Mark says took a Falcon signal, the trend change signal on the Falcon, and hit the $250 profit target. Nicely done. Now, excuse me, what Mark was looking at here was what we would classify as an early trend change signal. It's still a trend change signal, but he took it just as it was changing the trend line. It still has the components of it, except it developed a little bit earlier. See, normally the trend change signal, well, we'll use this as an example here. We've got the leg that changes the trend line color. Then we have the counter move, and then we have the with trend move. So there's your trend change signal. In this case, it also happens to coincide with a late filter entry. But well done, Mark. Yes, Mark says, a little risky at the open, but I had faith that it would work out, and it did. That's the thing with the open, you know, you can almost always count on a little burst of momentum. It's not always clear as to the direction, however. But good for you. Usually to pick up 10, certainly 10 ticks, not a big deal. 20 ticks, usually a given as well. Let's see if the Eagle got us our 40 tick target. We'll take it right on the hash mark. No, not quite. Would have been close enough to hit the break-even trigger, and it looks like you may be stopped at break-even now if you didn't take profit earlier. Okay, things getting decidedly, well, I was going to say more bearish. We're drifting now into yellow bars again on the Hawk and the Raptor. We've come all the way back to the hard edge. What happened to that buying that we were looking at before? Are things finally getting a little top heavy? I think almost everybody would be more comfortable shorting at these levels. But I don't think there's any denying how strong the uptrend is. So on that note, we got a little decision to make. We're getting a red bar buy signal here on the Hawk. Do I want to try to buy it or do I want to try to sell it? Well, I haven't seen a test of the extreme yet. Maybe a buy would be the way to go, and maybe we'll split the trade if I can take two contracts.
Order pending. Order canceled.
Oh, and there goes my signal. Well, that is a little unusual. Okay, we're obviously into the hard edge on the Eagle and the Raptor. And when we encounter the hard edge, we expect some sort of reaction. We expect the market to do something. Now, whether it's going to be a big something or a little something, that I can't tell you. Right, thanks Steve. Steve reminding me crude inventory out at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. All right, well, we have a first micro-macro cross signal. The problem with this signal is where the heck do I cover the trade? If I take the signal here, I'm pretty much committed to covering the trade way up there. I may opt for a, well, what the heck here? Well, can we get a trade on? Yes, we can. The problem, of course, no test of the extreme. I will try to run this out if we get filled, which we just did. Because it is just a single, because it is early, nothing else signaling. Getting a trend change signal here in the Falcon. Just making a few notes in my journal. Maybe I should have just scalped out. We did hit our scalp target, and now it looks like we're going to go test the top end again. Okay, so the Falcon also producing a sell signal here with our trend change signal. It's a little bit quick, but it is a trend change signal all the same. You're pretty much committed to trading it in the same fashion as the hawk, where your trade is going to look something like this. I'm already in the hawk trade, so I'm not going to double up on that one. The Raptor, for you Raptor traders, we don't quite have a cloud crossover yet. All right, here comes a little buying, it looks like. Remember, we're into the hard edge. We're expecting a little reaction. Geiger counter pulling over a little bit here to the buy side. Okay, so what we're looking at now is the test of the extreme. And this could, it has the potential to be big. It has the potential to be a pretty big test of the extreme, which is why I had to place my stop so far away on the hawk. What I'm looking for here now is for the Raptor to come back with a sell signal. That would be the soft edge sell signal, even though we are already into the hard edge. The principle remains the same. Okay, we're getting there. Geiger counter was looking a little bit more bearish for a moment. Come on, sellers, where did you go? Okay, signs of selling here. This bar's trying to head lower. The Geiger counter flip-flopping. There we go. Come on down. All right, well, we'll set that on the shelf. Here on the Hawk, we've also drifted now into a macro pullback slash four arrow consolidation. The Falcon, however, is starting to print a buy signal, so we're getting some conflicting signals here. As the buyers and sellers really struggle to gain control. All right, here the four arrow consolidation complete now. Even though it is on the yellow bar, the four arrow consolidation is a signal I will take on a yellow bar. All right, and here on the Raptor now we're getting our counter trend signal. And let me frame that a little better. Now, I'm not really keen on, getting in this early. This is a soft edge sell signal. I'm having a hard time believing this is going to be the test of the extreme, which is why my stop is so far away.
Order pending.
All right, here we go. What do you think? Should we try to run this one out as well?
Order
Oh,
canceled.
okay. I may end up regretting that, but so this 5547 area, fairly sensitive. We produced a couple signals in this neighborhood now. Okay, the low of the morning, a little bit of a stumbling block here as we get to the top of the hour. The market looking a little bit more active than it has been. All right, we got ourselves a real battle going on here at the moment. The market trying to put in a lower high, currently supporting the lows. The next few bars should tell us which way it's going to go from here. If we see a break below the low, which is obviously what I'm looking for, uh, we could have some room to move here. Maybe even into yesterday's gap, which could see the market trading as low as 55. Where was yesterday's gap again? I'm going to say 55.15, I think it was. Yes, down here. 55.15, 16 area. Maybe even toward the 55.20 area, which would kind of be the support from yesterday. Yes, I'm getting a few comments here. People are saying traders are waiting for Trump's tax statement. Yes, I think so. But again, it goes back to that whole news and market thing, chicken and the egg. I don't doubt that, news announcements like that do spark the market. But prices will do what prices will do. Like I said, so often so that traders make the comment, markets rally on bearish news and fall on bullish news. We've been drifting sideways now for almost a half an hour, or 20 minutes anyway. Come on. Somebody just get in there and knock him over. Tony, get in there and sell your 10,000 contracts. That'll tip the market. I'm debating the tighter stop as well. Yeah, I'm getting a couple comments here as well about Trump's tax plan. Pretty big news event. Yes, it certainly is. I don't deny that. I'm just not always convinced the market will move the way we expect it to. We're getting kind of a hard edge bounce here now, so some conflicting signals. This is the challenge when you go counter trend, of course. All right, I'm going to take the tighter stop. We'll go 55.53. And keep my fingers crossed. Come on. Tony says, "Oh no, I hit the wrong button and bought 10,000." I don't know. Mark's asking, when is the announcement? Is Trump's announcement scheduled? I'm terrible for the news. If you haven't noticed, news and reports are pretty low on my radar. I know the 29th is the budget, and that's a big deal. If we can just get a couple of ticks here in our favor, that could be enough to tip the market. Especially if we breach this 55.45 area. Come on. Come on down. You know you want to. I'm almost thinking a better stop would be at 55.55. And the reason I say that is I bet the fib traders are watching that area. $55.56 is the 62% retracement. 55.53 and change is the 50%. For fib traders will be all excited about shorting as the market gets to 55.53. Thanks. Mr. Buckaloo says the White House press conference is scheduled for this morning. The big boys already know and probably have their positions in. They need the news to cover their tracks. And cynicism aside, that may not be all that far off. Oh, come on. What a neutral bar we're looking at right now. This bar that's forming, which I obviously hope will finish lower, is probably going to be a pretty important bar for us. It's just been flip-flopping so much and for so long. Yeah, this bar is about 10 minutes forming right now. I'll check the news site, see if I can learn anything. And I just check the big ones, you know, CNN and stuff like that. No, nothing really. Okay, here we go. Things starting to look a little bit more promising. Okay, so the big obstacle now, obviously the lows of the morning, 54, 44, 45. Come on already. What is taking them? You know you're going to go lower. Just go lower. Why do you have to tease me like this? Waiting for the breakdown, and it ain't coming just yet. They're still holding tough around that 55, 44, 45 area, which is annoying for people like me who are short. There we go. Come on, get below there. We should see the bottom start to fall out. Russell. Russell says, what do you think of the eagle if it produces a red bar buy? Well, if it produces a red bar buy, it's definitely um, a hard edge bounce, a red bar buy. But we're also producing kind of a very sloppy rule of three here. The market very reluctant to commit this morning, and now I'm faced with the dilemma of, do I try to ride out this swing or do I just take my stops to break even, and I think I'm going to opt for the parabolics. Maybe with the hawk, what I should have done is just take profit, because I had my profit objective. Okay, I'm going to hold that there at the moment. It's currently sitting at break even. Tony asking, Eric, when time permits, would you read what you wrote in your journal this morning? You said you were making some notes. What were they? Thanks. Journal entry, journal keeping, I think, is extremely important. I've mentioned this in the past, how of the 10% of traders that make money, 90% of those keep a trading journal. That last person, that odd man out or odd woman out, that can make money without keeping a trading journal is either a naturally gifted trader or just plain lucky. Chances are good that you are neither. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. It's just a fact of life. I'm going to take this Raptor trade to break even also. And it too may prove to be too early. So unless you are a naturally gifted trader or extremely lucky, it would be to your advantage to keep a trading journal. And I've shown this post before as well, for those of you confused what to keep in a trading journal. This is pretty old now. This is from, I guess, 5 years ago. It's just a copy I scanned from my journal, and it's evolved over time. You know, I keep a little bit more detail now than I did here. But the important things are the time you took the trade. In this case, I sold the Eagle, bought the Hawk, bought the Falcon. And then you're going to develop your own shorthand. Oh, your trade parameters as well. And you can see you develop your own shorthand. I use the symbol pi for profit. That's back from my finance courses. And ideally what you want is you want two reasons for taking a trade. Here, just a moment, I gotta make a note on the Raptor trade where I got tagged at break even there. So, for instance, here on the Hawk trade this morning, I wrote the Hawk trade that we're doing way back here. So we entered this one at 645, shorted the Hawk, NQ, one contract at 55.47.25, stop loss 55.62.75, profit target runner, first micro macro cross. I made a note that I'm going to try to run it out because it's the first trade of the day. I wrote that I'm wondering whether the market is short now because of the big move lower. And I put bearish in a question mark. I also made a note that we broke support. See this last swing through here, even though it was in the overnight, We did break that, so in theory, the market owes me one more move lower, but it's pretty slow getting to it. So those are the kinds of notes that I make. Then when the trade finishes, if I learn anything about the trade, I'll make a note of that as well. If you're trying, different things, if you're trying different stop losses, you'll want to make notes of that also, if you want to know how your stop loss is working out. Darn it. All right. Got tagged at break even on that one as well. Oh, yes. Thanks, Steve. I'm going to be a little bit late to the party here. Crude oil inventory coming out as we speak. Sorry about that, folks. Got a little hung up on the NASDAQ this morning. So crude oil obviously looking a little bit bullish. What you can do is, oh, and look at that number 2 counter trend signal, grabbing it just prior to the report coming out. Okay, so the other way you can trade crude with an OCO is you can let the report come out, and then once you know the limits of the market, you can look to, oops, that's not what I wanted.
Order canceled. Order pending. Order pending.
We'll leave our support down here, but we'll see where support may come in.
Order pending.
All right, if you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, you could probably short below here now. Or actually, to be a little safer, you could short below the median line.
Order pending.
Okay, well, don't need to worry about that now. We're currently long on crude oil. Oh, come on, get through that secondary support already. No! There we go. Making a little progress now. All right, let's see where the parabolics are at. We'll go with those. All right, you know what? I'm going to be ultra tight here with my stops. I don't feel like leaving too much in play. There we go. That's all they get. Now that they're on the other side of the resistance line, I'm going to use the resistance zone to cover the trade, and hopefully I can ride this one out. Stinkers. Okay, well, still a pretty good trade, so I got stopped 49.86. Okay, and there's your little crude breakout signal from the report. Yeah, thanks, Tony. Getting some applause from the crowd. All right, another first micro-macro cross developing here on the NASDAQ while all that was going on, as well as a trend change signal here in the Falcon. We're below the lows of the morning. Might be working a proper cloud crossover. The soft edges already crossed over. We may see the market retrace here a little bit and give us a hard edge crossover as well. That would give us the #1 cloud crossover signal. Here we go. Mr. Buckaloo letting me know that Trump is scheduled to speak at 11:20 Eastern. So that could put a wrinkle in our trading. We'll see. Okay, we're just kind of waffling here at the moment. One thing about trading journals, people often ask me how often I review my journal. Never. In fact, once I fill up a journal, and I usually use just an inexpensive spiral notebook, I throw it in the recycle bin. I'm a I'm a big believer in a handwritten journal. I think something imprints on your brain when through the act of writing something down, of making notes, because you have to think about it. Looks like the crude oil party done for right now, so didn't do too bad on that. Just took my share. So let's see, here's our first micro macro cross signal right here. I'm not sure the signal has reached its profit objective. Thank you. Sorry about that. Delivery driver at the door. My wife has gotten on to online shopping. I know. Excuse me, she's a little bit of a late bloomer, but she's making up for it. All right, look at the size of some of these bars here. We're getting some serious volume coming through, which tends to happen at market turns. Yeah, like Tony says, the Eagle rule of three is taking forever to do nothing. And ain't that the truth? If you want to do the rule of three and you want to get in a little bit later, you could use this as a second push opportunity. Ideally, you want to cover above the highs. I'm still waiting on the Raptor to give me that cloud crossover signal. We did get like an early cloud crossover signal that printed right around here. Oh man, it's painful. Just trickling. Well, maybe it's like everybody was saying this morning, the market's just going to be dragging its heels until they hear what Trump has to say. I would have thought, if you're uncertain about the news, the tendency is to bank profit. Take your money out until you get a handle on which way the market is leaning.
Order pending.
Crude oil trying to rally some more. And the NASDAQ, well, we're just sitting here watching the paint dry on the NASDAQ.
Order canceled.
This sideways trading, this slow, sluggish stuff is normally what we see, end of July, early August. We don't usually see markets behaving this way in April. Well, nothing to do. Nothing to do but wait. All right, gang, it's almost the top of the hour, so I think we're going to button up shop here for this morning. I would have said to maintain a more bearish bias on the market. I do believe the NASDAQ owes us one more move lower, but they're sure taking their time getting around to it. So you may want to keep a lookout for perhaps a cloud crossover signal here on the Raptor. But that's really all I got at the moment. All right, we'll touch base with you tomorrow. Hopefully the markets will be a little bit more responsive. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.